to ask for social rights, because their argument is very much this is women's right to social security. Whether they are employed or not, they do work, and everybody who does work has a right to social security. That's their argumentation. So now, there are many challenges for us in front in the post-2015 era. We have changed context, and I feel very much, and for the younger women, this holds true even more, because the younger women haven't had this experience of the Beijing agenda, and that doesn't mean very much for them. Why should they always refer back to this agenda from 1995? So we have to adjust, I think, our strategies and our perspectives on the local level, on the micro level, and on the macroeconomic level as well. And with regard to the Sustainable Development Goals, we have to ask ourselves, does it make sense to add more goals and indicators? Somebody said we can get lost in all these indicators. We have enough goals, it's just a question, how do we reach these goals? How can we go from, of course there were success stories, there was progress, but very much on a particular and individual level, how can we come to structural change? We want, and we know, structural change is needed if we want to come to realize really gender rights. And therefore, the empowerment of women has to go hand in hand with a change of the bigger power structures. And emancipatory strategies have to be combined with a transformation of structures in society. And I want to come back to one key point I made in the beginning. We have to reconnect feminist movements, organizations and struggles, different struggles, which are very much fragmented, have become very much fragmented now. And we have to build alliances. In this situation, we are in a pretty defensive situation. So I think we have to build alliances with other progressive forces and struggles. Yeah, and we have to link issues again much more. For example, the destruction of livelihoods I was talking about, or poverty in the global south, with the present situation of migration and refuge. We have to link structures, discourses, and subjectivities. It was always a kind of opposition structures here and subject there, but we have to bring it together. We have to link politics, economics and culture, and we have to link again the global and the local. So this coming together and linking up, this is at least something we are doing here, and we should re-energize from this and continue our struggles. Thank you very much.
So perhaps we have some time for questions or comments for Christa. Does anybody want to start?
I was thinking that the Millennium Goals, which now have changed after 2015, they was generally considered to have been a positive thing. It's your approach is fairly negative and repressive in a way. Are there positive? Is that how do the things that have been improved in these Millennium Goals fit into your picture?
I don't think that the MDGs have been a success.
None of them? Poverty?
You see, the statistics about poverty show a progress, show an improvement, but you have to know that the statistics started to count from 1990. MDGs were adopted in 2000. Statistics started to count from 1990. And between 1990 and 2000, China made a huge step forward in the elimination of poverty. This is one thing. So the main progress you see in the numbers, in the statistics, was made in China between 1990 and 2000. This is one thing. The other thing is, how do you measure poverty? And we see that a number of people have come due to globalization and the changes in the economies, have come above the $1 a day or $1.25 a day limit. Yes, but they are a little bit above it. So, for example, in Africa, what is called middle class, already people who earn more than $2 a day are nowadays called middle class in Africa. And they are out of poverty. So we have to ask many questions if we see these statistics. And in general, one of the main achievements of this period of time was what Amartya Sen, the Nobel Prize winner, said. He developed this argument very strongly together with Martha Nussbaum, saying measuring poverty in GDP is only one thing, or in income, in monetary terms is only one thing. Poverty is a very, very complex, and this holds true for women in particular. Poverty is a very, very complex situation, and monetary terms are only a part of it. So I would question this very much, the success of the MDGs. And I would say the MDGs had a completely wrong concept, because they didn't go to the root causes of the problems, but they gave the illusion that if you put in a lot of money to fight the symptoms, then you can change something. But this is not true. And the MDGs, another point which was always criticized by us, by women's organizations, is the MDGs didn't refer to the human rights concept.
You were talking about statistics in Beijing 1985, the necessity to measure unpaid work make the recommendation for time use survey, that every single country needs to have a time use survey in order to measure unpaid care. And in fact, it was an advance after Beijing on time use statistics. However, in the last years, many countries have stopped, or they are ready to stop, or they have reduced samples. For instance, Germany supposed to have time use statistic in 2009, 2010, and it will release now, and Spain is supposed to do the next one next year, but we will not have it. The United States, that was doing every single year, will stop now. So did you talk something on Beijing+20 about statistics, because we could be able to measure well-being in a different way than growth, and to measure especially different impact on women if we have statistics to do so. But if we are reducing, and this is happening now, more and more statistics, especially the ones that are related with social issues or that could at least we could analyze and paid work with them, as is the case of time use statistics, we don't have the tools for indicators or other things. So did you talk in Beijing+20 about that needs or?
Yes, there was a talk about it, but you see, and there has been a lot talk about it since a number of years, because this trend you are describing was realized very well. But you see, in politics, we had always the problem that something else is much more important. Yeah? From 2008 onwards, it was the financial crisis. So everybody was saying, oh, there are so many problems in the economy, we can't, for time use surveys, we don't have the money, we don't have the time, and so on. And now, for example, in Germany, we have other problems. And we realized, okay, in the 90s, everywhere the women's and gender issues had a kind of push. But now we very often hear we have made there have been so many advancements and so much progress for women. And it's true if we compare it to my mother's or grandmother's situation. Women have many more opportunities, and they have much more say about their own life, about their body, about their sexuality, and so on. That is true. But still, this argument of big progress made is misused in terms that now we have a kind of stagnation or even rollback. And this applies to many, many areas.
Thank you for your